Hello, can you guys hear me? Let me see. Oh, it's pretty. Are you guys here? Can you guys hear me? Maybe you guys can type something in the chat box or comment section. This is the second time we are holding this in this format. What is this? YouTube. Anyone? Anyone in the comment section? Okay. So this is Vantage live exclusive webinar. We'll be waiting for more people to come in. Hi, Abu Bakar. Where are you guys from? Like, type in the comment section. Traders all around the world. You can hear me? That's great. Awesome. So we are expecting more people, but I'm not sure how this thing works. So I shall wait a bit more for people to come in. Where are you guys from? Kenya? Oh, Kenya is pretty cool. Never been there. I really want to go. Okay, so fellow traders out there. Hi, hello from Austria. Nice to see you. I'm from Singapore. Don't know if you guys have heard or have been here. So this is a trading webinar. Not sure where you guys I mean, whether you guys, how long have you guys been trading? Are you guys experienced traders? Are you guys new? I mean, how do you guys get to know this webinar series? Okay, I'll wait for one more minute, then I shall just start. Okay, anyways, today's webinar is gonna be about fundamentals. Like, it's gonna be very simple, such that I'm gonna summarize on what we think the global economy what is important in the global economy that will affect the markets right now, for you to form a FA bias based on the events, the rate hikes issues in Australia, New Zealand. So my name is Angelina and I represent Everest Fortune Group. So this is the team who will be presenting in the upcoming few weeks. So we have Desmond, he's our CEO, and Cassandra, she's a market strategist like me. She's on holiday right now. Kudos to you, Cassandra. And then my name is Angelina. And what we do is we are market strategists who analyze trading levels, and we do charting to send the strategies to brokers, to big institutions for them to consider. And we will back our analysis with our fundamental reasoning. So, this is Everest Fortune Group. And if you're a trader, a retail trader, what we can offer is in terms of our insight, in terms of our reports, and what we find in charts every day, we can offer you a general wrap of what we think of the markets. So Hamad and Abukar, are you guys looking at any pairs right now? Any currency pairs to trade? I look so different on camera. Yeah. Okay, but anyways, disclaimer first, we are not convincing you. We're not trying to convince you to do any trade, or no matter how convincing any strategy sounds, there's still a percentage of it going wrong. So make sure before you invest, mitigate your risk, understand your stop loss, your potential loss if the trade goes wrong, right? And also whatever information that we provide is an educational sort of it's for educational purpose. It's not to convince you to do a direct investment. So make sure you read well, read around the world, understand the financial asset you are investing in, and understand the risk before you decide to trade. Okay, so that is that. So what will we be covering today? Today, first, we'll be going through the important news of the week. Then we'll do a general overview of Asian Pacific markets and then the US markets overview and what are the calendar events that we are looking out for today that will affect the currency. And then a general currency overview of what we think, whether it's a bullish or bearish bias. And then if you guys are trading on any of the charts, you can put it in the questions box and then we can go through them together to give you our bias for the currency. So any questions so far? I mean, it's a small audience we have today, but we can actually be a cozier kind of situation where we have more interaction as such. Okay, no questions? Then I'm moving on. So, what are the important news of the week that is driving the market? Okay, so firstly, give me a moment. Okay, so firstly, we are actually looking at oil fall. So this has a couple of reasons. The first reason was last week there was a declaration of oil reserve releases from Biden, right? And then you have an eye on AX XAU USD. Then I hope that you are looking for buy-in entry. So because FA is very bullish on gold right now. We're looking at inflation, we're looking at shaky markets, and we are also looking at the rate hike circumstances. So probably it'll be good to look for buy-in entry on gold. Yeah. But anyways, for oil, we're quite bearish at least for these upcoming weeks because the lockdown in China would mean that the oil reserves are stuck, and then we are seeing release from different not just from the US side, from OPEC, and also some of the Saudi Arabia places. They are actually releasing their reserves to cope with the inflation and to support the sanction efforts towards Russia, right? No comments on the political situation, but we know that the talks has not been going so smooth right now, and we might be worried that it might play out for longer than we hope. So in the long term, I would still see oil being a huge area where still the supply will always be there for oil, especially at the end of this year. But because of the recent release in reserves of oil and their declaration that they're going to help other nations cope with the lack of oil from Russia, support the efforts of sanctions, right? We might see a bit of bearish turn from oil. In terms of futures for commodities, everything is mostly on a rally because we know that when tension deepens, we will expect people fighting for resources, and futures in general, commodities markets are on the rally. Inflation is high. People are saying things are going to get expensive no matter where you are in the world. We will expect things to be more expensive in time to come. So futures most likely gonna be on the rise. If you guys trade on wheat, soybean, any of the futures, commodities, right, metals too, it's gonna be in a very very bullish rally. So we will look out for that. The third one is actually on Aussie and Kiwi. As they wait for the rate hike circumstances, we might expect a bit lacking in trading volatility there. But for in general, our direction bias is still pretty bullish for Aussie and Kiwi because the fact that these two are very commodities driven economies. And if you guys have been looking at the data releases from Australia and New Zealand, their unemployment rate is very in a healthy rate right now. GDP growth healthy. Inflation okay, not as great as not as contained as not as contained as they liked it to be, but it's quite performing relatively well at a relative acceptable rate compared to the global economy right now. So we are expecting these two economies to be doing relatively okay. and because of that, the currencies are generally stronger. So if you guys are trading on any of these pairs, I know a lot of technical indicators are saying that they are oversold, overbought, and due for a short. But because of fundamentals, it's actually a fundamental driven strong rally. So I will ask you guys to actually trade with care, be careful about it. If you're trading on Aussie Yen, okay, and if it, especially if it's a yen pair on any of this, yen is especially weak in today's as of today, so might expect more bullishness from these pairs, okay. And also Australia, known for its mining industry, lithium resources, precious metals, gold in general. It's going to drive Australian shares higher for the indices, for the currency. So you guys beware if you're trading on this. Any questions, feel free to post it on at the question box. Okay, so Asian Pacific markets this morning, the Asia Pacific markets are actually in red. This is because of a couple reasons. First is because that the country, the large cities like Shanghai, is actually on a lockdown because of the COVID circumstances. And another reason is because last week, or just 2 weeks ago, there were news that the government is trying to help the large cap companies in China recover, right? Because of the lack of confidence and the restructuring process, we saw a lot of dips in the share prices of China companies in general. So we actually seen a bit of rebound last week, but it was kept at a minimum because after the release of their declaration, we do not see much action going on. It might be behind the scenes, but as investors, I guess the market sentiment is that nothing has changed. The investors are still shaky towards China markets. So we're seeing a bit of dip from there, and then there is the war efforts and the COVID circumstances. So we are seeing more reds in the indices compared to greens. Quite normal actually. So this is that. Okay, so US market overview, we are seeing a very high bond yield these days, especially with the hype of 2-year bond yields. The percentage is higher than 10-year bond yields. I have emphasized on this last week. It's actually a sign that experts are viewing the experts are actually saying that there's potential for slumps in the economy in the near future, and that is why we are seeing rates also in Nasdaq, S&P 500, and Russell 2K. Okay, so if VIX is in the rates, usually it just says that a lot of investors are on the fence because, firstly, on one hand, it is that people are seeing a lot of potential for large cap companies like Tesla, Apple. It's still very good companies to invest in. And if you are looking at it, valuations to investors are getting attractive. People are looking for buy-in opportunities have been looking for buy-in opportunities on these large cap companies. So I think half of the markets are still looking to buy in on this very good value stocks. But because of the war news, etc., another part of the market is actually worried about tech stocks in general, which perform quite badly in times of war. They tend to be riskier assets in general. So there are investors who are trimming their profits on the stocks like Twitter. Elon Musk declared that he is taking in on some of the profits from Twitter. You guys can go read about it. It's quite interesting. He has about 9% in his portfolio. He owns about 9% of Twitter shares. So very good stock to look into, potentially something that you guys might want to see. Okay, but in general, we are more wary about stock markets these days, especially when bond yields are on the rise And so if you guys trade stocks, I would say be careful. Okay. Okay, and for today's, oh, sorry guys. And for today, uh, okay, and for today's calendar events, okay, I think the focus is mostly on the pound and also FOMC declaration today. This is not based on any timing. I did not adjust this properly. GDP growth, better growth in general will actually send the pound in a more bullish run. It's a very important piece of information data that is releasing out today. If it's more, if the GDP growth is better than previous and better than forecast, then we will expect a more bullish. We might expect a small reversal on pound because I believe it has been bearish for a while already. And we can look at it from TA's perspective if any of you guys are trading on it, right? Okay, and okay, trade balance. I think the markets are eyeing more on the GDP growth than the trade balance because it's an indication of how the economy had been doing, right? Okay, and then FOMC. So the focus is mostly on pound. If you guys are trading, looking for opportunities, and if the direction bias for GBP is quite obvious, you guys can look for opportunities on the pound pairs. Okay, and okay, so currency overview. What are we expecting from DXY? So right now, Fed is actually at. So remember, I mentioned that in times of war, the Fed will tend not to try not to put a lot of stress on the economy. So it will go against their objective of keeping inflation under control, which is to tighten the monetary policy and increasing the rates, right? So the rate hikes. So I would expect them to be a little less hawkish today, right? Because of the recent invasions, because of the further development of the war. So Mr. actually commented that the inflation will likely remain above 2% because there's nothing mostly they can do about it without triggering a recession. The bond yield circumstance is signaling to the economy that the markets are mostly gonna face a recession. But I think what the Fed is trying to do is they're trying to slow down the rate of recession to drag it out so that the economy doesn't suffer that much of a sudden move. Okay, so we will be expecting, personally for myself, I'm expecting a bit more of a bearish turn on DXY, but our external report says that a market has priced in for 7 rate hikes, right? And the inflation numbers were not so good. It's to 4.1. It's higher than previous. GDP estimates are lower. So my personal view that it's going to be a bit more bearish until the next meeting, but we will be seeing a bullish move if the declaration or at that point of time, if the rate hikes are more aggressive than natural, or if the inflation expected vs the expected is lower than the actual is lower than expected, we might see a bit of more of a bullish turn. But for myself personally, I'm a bit more bearish on DXY, and I think the TA side of the market is trying to short on DXY and trying to short on USD, JPY, dollar yen, right? So that is that for dollar index. Okay, and then for gold, there's no major news event, but because of the geopolitical front, the retaliation from Russia amid the fifth wave of sanctions. So EU is placing more sanctions on Russia, and personally, I wouldn't think Russia will give in just because of the sanctions. So we might expect more bullish upside from gold from today on. If you guys are trading on gold, looking for buying entries, and we will do a TA analysis of gold after this. Okay, and next. Okay, so for Aussie, as I mentioned, I'm more bullish on the currency itself. And the expectation for RBA is that they will increase rates sooner because right now they are looking at the latest stability review, and borrowers are to prepare for larger than expected increases interest rates and the central bank's removal. So because of the relatively okay numbers, I believe that RBA is gonna really try and make use of the current stability to increase their interest rates. The next meeting is in May, but we are still pretty bullish on Aussie, so you guys can trade. Look for bullish buyers on it. Okay, and then the next one is actually okay for yen. We are looking at a more bearish yen. They are keeping it weak because apparently, according to them, it's better for the economy. And so we would expect the inflation to rise close to 2%, right? And it'll probably become worse because of inflation and because, not the inflation, it'll probably become worse because of the high commodity prices and high oil prices. So I feel that Japan in general will not stay as safe haven, will not maintain its safe haven status anymore. People will be investing more in dollar, which is why FA is actually driving it up. But TA is saying that it's due for a short. So that is where we are actually in conflict. If I were trading as a trader based on FA, I would try and stay out of USD JPY unless it's a very good setup, and I'm very, very sure of it. But other than that, because FA and TA for dollar yen is in conflict, I would think twice about moving in this pair. Guys, am I very boring? I can't help it. FA is a bit like that. It's just about rate hikes, what the central bank thinks, whether we think it's bullish or bearish based on the rate hikes. I will try. I think I just have about two more currencies, and then we can do a TA and look for good setups together. I think that's what everyone's here about, right? Like chatting, strategies, etc. What do you guys think? Hamad, have you fallen asleep yet? Abu Bakar, anyone? Okay, but yeah, okay. So for Kiwi, it's the same with Aussie. Our bias is more bullish, and so they are debating whether there's a need for 50 bps rate hike, and the decision will be out on the 13th of April. So if you guys are trading Kiwi, look out for the dates. There will be I think there will be smaller volatility in there will be lesser trend reversal, big moves in the market until the decision on 13 April. Okay, so do you guys have any questions? If not, we can move on to analyzing gold or whichever currency pairs you guys want. Anyone? Hello? Anyone? Okay, so let me analyze gold for now. We are at the 5-minute chart, right? But right now, price has just crossed the Fibonacci level. Okay, so if you are a scalper, actually right now is a potential for a great scalp right now for a small short. This is against the trend, by the way, guys. So we saw, okay, so let me go through the usual route. Then let me show you how I find my scalping opportunity right now. Okay, so firstly, if you're on gold, you would have figured that price has been consolidating in a triangular pattern. Let me put a magnet so it's more accurate. Okay, so this touch and here. Okay. Okay, and prices have broken out of the triangle, right? If we are on a smaller time frame, it has broken out of the triangular pattern and is on bullish movement. So right now, the next high is actually here. Okay, if you are on a small, okay, so potentially the triangle is actually here, but we can drag it. Depends on how you draw your trend line. Trend lines are subjective, by the way. Okay, so right now, with RSI being at a very high level right now, okay, and we are actually at an area of Fibonacci confluences. So this is the 15-minute chart, but if I'm on the 4-hourly, okay, so this is a very nice level of resistance that we can identify price cuts here, tests here previously. So this is a very nice overlap resistance that we were actually watching for, right? So this is on the 4-hourly. Price come close to here and then move up. Price comes close to here and then bounces, and then price hovers around this area, right? And price comes down. So right now we are at this area that I highlighted, and this is on the smaller time frame. If I'm on the bigger time frame, this is 1, 2. Okay. And I am doing a Fibonacci projection here. So it's this area. I would be looking for actually a small pullback from here. If it breaks this area of resistance that we are looking at right now, there will be potential for it going all the way higher towards the next level of resistance, which is here. But right now, because the bullish move is so strong and RSI is at a very, very high level, I'll see potential if you are a scalper for a short pullback. Let me see this. Okay, minus 60. Okay. So potentially this first reaction could take place and it could be a small reaction towards my support level, which is here. So this will probably be about a $10 move here to my support level. Three. So potentially that could be a small reaction that occurs towards here. And if you guys are on a small time frame, you can see that there's a reaction here. Price is testing, hovering around here. This is my next swing high, right? So if TA is in function, potentially it can go all the way down here towards this. But this is against the trend. The next level of resistance, if it breaks this, will be our next level of Fibonacci confluences at this area here, right? And if I'm actually looking at okay, so at this area you can see that the short is trying to play out right now. Yeah, it could be just a reaction here, but if it's a small reaction, potentially you can actually play it to the 38 for a safe sort of return. Go in with a smaller lot size because this is against the trend trading. But yeah, I do see potential for it to have a pullback towards this area before having further continuation. Guys, do you have any question? My hair is looking bad. Lily Pierce asked for a pound Kiwi. That's a good pair to look at. Okay, we'll look at it. But guys, if you guys are looking at gold, so just take note, this is a triangular pattern. Price has broken out of the triangle. It was on bullish momentum, very strong bullish momentum, right, towards our, but this is one area of resistance. Price might react here towards the 38.2. If it continues its rally, we will wait for this next level at 62.9, right? So if you guys want to trade, perhaps if it comes here, you can look for a bigger reaction. Okay, this will be our second resistance and set stop loss above. So if it reverse within this area and fall here, any area, you can wait for it to go higher before you trade. So price is actually consolidating here. If it breaks this level, it will actually go here. If it touch here, you will do a small pullback. So this is the few situation that you might face if you're trading on this. I personally think that it's better to look for buy-in entries, but because the setup is like that, we are going with TA for now. This is a reaction-based trading, which means that we are looking for oversold levels based on Fibonacci, and this level of confidence, this level of Fibonacci seems very nice, especially since if it's on the 4-hourly, it's a very strong resistance level that we're looking at. So yeah, do take note of this. Okay, so we're looking for small reaction towards this support. Okay, so next we're looking for Lily Pierce, pretty name. Let's look at the pound Kiwi. I see a very nice setup as well. So this is 120. Okay, so this is a very nice Nike tick. First thing that we look at. Secondly, we look at if there's an expansion. -2, right? Okay, and then we look at a projection. Okay, so the 200 is here. So I would see potential for a small pullback. Okay, but keep in mind that price has broken out of this descending trend line. Okay, so what we see here is actually a descending trend line previously that has been broken out of already. Okay, if you consider this a retest, it was a bullish run from here. It's not the best trend line, but you guys can see 1, 2, and most probably there would have been a touch here before the break. Yep, so there was a trend line retest. It was a break from here, and when there's a retest, usually you could have played an up movement towards the next swing high, but right now we are at the swing high, right? So let me see if this is the negative. Okay, so the swing high is actually this level. It reached this next swing high after the trend line breakout retest. And right now, let's see, there's actually bearish divergence spotted here in the RSI. Not sure if this is I don't think this is a sign of playing out, but yeah, definitely bearish divergence spotted here. Same level, low market is RSI is making lower lows, but market is making higher highs, right? So within this area, I see potential for a small shot towards our me see. Our 23.6. Nice spot, Ellie. Lily. This is a decent setup. So within this area, you can look for a sell entry, right? And the closer it is to this swing high, the better the entry is. And we play it towards this take profit level. And our stop loss will be a tight one. If you have entered here, good for you. But if you have, you can put in a stop loss at perhaps a very tight one. And make sure you do the maybe 1% depending on, oh, it's actually playing out right now. So make sure you do your stop loss calculation. Like this percentage should be about 1 to 2% of your trading account. And yeah, so it depends. If your entry is here at a bad entry, then this to here should be 1% of your trading account. That is how you calculate your lot size. Okay, so you guys potentially can wait for this to go back to your entries. So yeah, this is how you can, this is a nice decent setup, I feel. We will still wait for confirmation from the news release. I don't know if the data release is out yet. I haven't yet to check. But if pound is bearish, is bearish, then definitely we have a very bearish pair right now, because my personal view for Kiwi is actually a more bullish one. So yeah, this is a great setup. When price was testing here, it would have been a nice setup for a buy-in entry here too, towards this next swing. So you could have played up and played down. But good spot, good spot. And RSI sort of is further supporting bias that this is more of a bearish short. But keep in mind, guys, RSI divergence does not always play out. So you guys, if you guys trade, I would say don't enter now. I think potentially can reach the entry again, right? Let's see. I mean, wait for it to go as close to your entry as possible and for it to short. If you miss it, then we can look at the next pair, like maybe pound Aussie. Okay, pound Aussie has already played out. No. Let's see. So the short, there's no setup, similar setup on pound Aussie. It was a nice setup on that pair. Okay, so if it's on pound Aussie, we don't see the same setup, but we are seeing bearish. I wouldn't go in on this one. Perhaps maybe pound. Looking for setups together. Nope. Okay, so that was the only setup based on the scalping strategy that we have found, but I think it's decent. Yep. Okay, so we look at Aussie USD. Okay, let's look at it from a bigger picture. The trend line was here. Okay, give me a moment. Not the best one. Oh. Okay, so the trend line is actually here, right? And the short apparently has started already. It's a good spot too, because this is a strong monthly trend line even, right? But personally for Aussie, it's more of a short for me, but the reaction definitely happened. For Aussie dollar here. Okay, so our support level, I believe, might be here. Sorry, it's the magnet, it's not me. Okay, so this is actually a very strong support. You guys can see price tends to react off this support, right? And if we are on a smaller time frame, okay, the short has already occurred from the monthly trend lines going down. Okay. On the smaller time frame, actually there is a ascending trend line here. So to play safe, I mean there is potential for it to hit the support, but to play safe, I would say if you're already in for a short, play it towards and try and TP by when it tests this ascending trend line, because this is a buying this is a support ascending support trend line. So if it tests this, potentially it might just reverse and go back to here. So that is that. Let's go on a smaller time frame. Okay, so the short has already occurred. Are you already in on Aussie dollar Harabe? I think potentially we are at already intermediate support here, which means we are already in the middle. Just hitting your trailing stop loss. Yeah, I think it might reverse after, because you can see that here is a lower a higher low, a lower low, lower low, but you see that RSI is actually showing a more bullish move from the lows here. So in my opinion, the next move might just be a bullish one. This is almost close to similar level, and RSI is on bullish momentum. I mean, indicators are just a small piece of trading, but I think there's potential for it to actually reverse and go up. Not 100%, but yeah, I think it might. It's actually resting on a overlap support here, so potential for it to retest and go up. And FA is more bullish than bearish, so I'm thinking it can bounce from here. Okay, so guys, that is that. Do you guys have any other pairs or cryptocurrencies that you guys want to look at? Aussie dollar. What are you guys trading on right now? If not, we can just look for good setups together. Okay, so pound dollar. Nobody? Pound dollar. Okay, you read my mind. That's great. Okay, so pound dollar. Okay, so for pound rate, if we are on the monthly, no, daily, for hourly. Okay, hourly. Okay, so price are actually on a support, but I wouldn't necessarily go in on this one because it's not a very confirmed, it's not a very high probability trade right now. We're actually just on a support, and the descending trend line is here, and everything FA is saying it is very bearish. Our indicators are saying that it's more bearish, so we are just here. I don't usually trade based on indicators by themselves. So personally, pound dollar is not a good setup. There's no good setup I see right now. But just that we are resting on support, which is why it bounced. If it tests this trend line, potentially we can actually do a small setup of short, right, going down. But it's still depending on whether it reached there. Let's look for other pound pairs to see if there's other setups. This pound Aussie. Okay. So personally, when I'm looking at pound pairs, my direction bias actually more upwards. Don't know if you guys have the same direction bias as me. Pound yen. Okay, so pound yen, let's try. Right now, we are resting on the Nike tick of, I wouldn't say this is a Nike tick. This is not a great one. Des will probably say this is a bad one. Yeah, this is a bad one. I wouldn't trade on this. Remember what I said about yen? Yen is going to be weak. So probably try and stay out of this chart. It's not pretty. This confluences trade has played out already. If you guys seen it. Okay, so for pound franc, we are at this resistance level, not great. This is this is what I drew for pound kiwi. Yeah, this is a decent setup. This is the only decent setup I have found so far. But I'll wait for it to retest this entry before I go in for a short. Okay, 15 minutes. Let's try the 2-hourly. No good setups. It's set. Okay, so this is basically my own trading, and this is actually not this is not inverse head and shoulders pattern. This is similar to it, but for myself, it's too strict a regulatory to call it inverse. But for euro dollar, I'm seeing potential for bounce. It's based on the Nike tick strategy that we always use. The confluence area is here, right? It did bounce from this entry I entered in just now. If you are a safe trader, you can actually TP here, but it played out already. So yeah. Damn, I didn't hold this. But yeah, you guys can see that it's playing out very well towards the take profit area. Okay, let's see for the Aussie yen. I'm gonna stay out of yen pairs. You guys know why. FA is pretty annoying. Okay. Okay, if you guys are scalpers, I think potentially it's you can scalp this. Okay, what you guys can do is this is a Nike tick. This is not a Nike tick, but this is a 61 level. The Nike tick played out already, so this is different. And the projection level is here towards the 61.8% probably. Yeah. Start of the trend. Okay, so we have to use the start of the trend. And if I'm doing an expansion, it's actually towards here. So so this is minus 27 around here, this area. So your entry will be this area. Okay, and you set a stop loss above your 27.2 here. This is your scalping entry, and what you can do is you play to your 23. Yep, so you can play a shot from here towards this level, or if you're daring, right, you can play to the next, which is a level of support. So yeah, potential for us short on Aussie Kiwi. Euro Aussie here. Sell entry this area actually. Right. And then set a very, very tight stop loss and then go in for a short. I don't think it will go all the way down. Potentially you can just play the 23 point here. Either that your risk to reward ratio is still decent, right? And yeah, so small one here. Anyone? BTC USD. There was a setup on BTC USD. Okay, so same. Oh, okay, so I actually spotted this. It played out already for me, and it's looking very, very bearish to me personally. Yeah. So if you guys see the retracement, it has retraced to 23%. So I wouldn't play this because right now, based on fundamentals, Bitcoin is a very risky asset. So people are gonna short on it more than long on Bitcoin because during war commodities are the king, right? So most likely it's gonna be very bearish. I wouldn't trade this because if I'm trading the scalping strat, I'll probably be this will probably be the 127.2160, and both has already played out. So unless I'm shorting on this, there's no, and it's in the middle, so it's like a bullish bearish, it's a mixed trade for me, so I wouldn't necessarily trade this. I'll look for buy-in entries if it tests this trend line, right? If it tests this trend line, I'll probably look for buy-in entry, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna be. And if it tests this trend line, and if war complication, like there is peace talks, or it's generally a more stalemate situation, then I'll look in for buy-in entry. But for cryptocurrency, for now, probably not short, more of not long, more of a short on these. Ethereum has played out its short already, right? Same as Litecoin. Okay, and yeah, it has played out already. Okay, and for DXY, if you guys do trade this, right, it's a very nice Nike take, by the way. Nike take, ta-da, projection. Projection 1 to 7, and expansion here. So this is why the short happened so nicely. This is a very nice Fibonacci confluence. I don't know if you guys have this pair in your list, but if you do, you guys will have found this very juicy trade. Most probably to this level, a bit before, probably on the resistance level, shorting there. See, so the bearish turn on DXY, if it's this way, USD is probably this is probably a short as well. Yeah, the short is occurring, and for this, okay, so personally, I'm still gonna stay out of. This is not my lease. It doesn't have but for dollar yen, it's gonna be a short as well. You see here it occurring right now. Yeah, so the short is occurring, the bearish turn on DXY. Always start with this when you're analyzing, and then you can go on to other pairs to look for potential. Okay, so Eurosec, Philip say Pona. Interesting choice of currencies. Okay, so I would say price is consolidating, and we will look for RSI because this is the same level, right? So first thing I spot is a divergence on RSI. Divergence are usually trend reversal patterns. So we might expect bullish movements at least after right. So we spot divergence here, bullish. So at least it will be a bullish bounce up. The area, it's very close to area support, but the divergence is here, so we will expect it to retest most probably, at least. And if I'm drawing a retracement here, I think it's hovering around the 78.6. Okay, this is the 100. We don't use 100, unfortunately. But if the trend is starting from here, right, then we'll look at this. This is then a Nike tick. So if I use it this way, so it depends on whether the trend is here. I expect the trend to be here because the up movement is so strong here. Okay, so, and then this will be the 200. This will be the overextended projection for me. This is over, so it doesn't have a projection because it's so overextended. Okay, and I'm looking at the small. Okay, I would expect price to actually retest this and then bounce up personally. This level will be one that I'll be watching out for. Most likely actually this level, because previously it was a support, but it's actually closing the level already. But we do expect like a small trend reversal pattern here. Oh my gosh, magnet is killing me. Okay, let me drag this here. So it's testing here. I'm thinking it can go down again and then do a small reversal here because divergence is spotted. But it depends on how long it takes for the divergence to play out. And I'm expecting it to go to maybe say the 22.6, around this support level. This is more of a long-term prediction. So it will go down, reverse here, and then go up. Like that. And this is, if I drag this over, if I drag this over, you guys can see that this is also a very strong resistance level. So I will look at these two levels to trade if it's gonna be a bounce up to here. Selling in small profits may get out. A sell is right. I mean, like if you're a scalper, probably, but it's pushing it. So at least look for the levels. If you're TP, maybe TP at the lows, like the swing lows. I think it can go down to the swing lows. Yeah. So that's that. Pound SGD, interesting. Phillips likes exotic pairs. I can see that. I just do this and then end my webinar. If I'm cut off halfway, bear with me. Okay, I'm trying to do this as fast as I can. Okay, so this is, whoa. I would stay out of this pair because it's so consolidated. Like the hardest, I mean, if you are awesome and you are a very good trader, by all means trade consolidate. But see, the trend is not so obvious. Like it's up, down, up, down, up, down. So it's very hard to make a predicament. Like it's very hard to trade with the trend. So there are two types of trend traders. They are the contra trend traders, and they are the with the trend traders. But if you can't tell the trend, are you a contra trend trader or are you a with trend trader? So that is something to consider because this is like a consolidated market structure. How are you going to even identify it? You must be a pretty amazing trader to be able to identify this. I can't do it myself. So yeah, but I think this is a level of resistance that you should watch, right? And in terms of support, based on I power, price is right now in the middle, right? So yeah, price will probably, if it reach here, will probably go down. So that is it for today, guys. If you guys have any questions, I mean, we are out of time, but thanks for listening to me ramble. I hope you find me entertaining. And thanks for the good setup, Lily. You are very sweet. And I'll see you guys next time, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye, Alexandre. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Phillips. Okay. Thank you, Philip. Thank you, Lily. Thank you, Alexandre. Thank you, Prince. And thank you, Hamad. Thank you, Abu Bakar. See you guys next time. Bye. Bye, Harana. Bye, Rabi. Thank you, guys. Bye. See ya.